Oh, I can be watching. Can I see mine, please? I'll watch it and watch the comments.
You better keep it plugged in, honey.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Hello, everyone.
Glad you came. This is going to be a discussion. So, people will get a chance to weigh in on what's going on with them. And I think it'll help each other. But what we're going to start off with first is just a little bit of update on what's been happening.
Mm-hmm. Oh, a lot's been happening. We've been having some really good calls and conversations. Very, very encouraging. They are.
It's exciting.
It's exciting, yes. But we like to start with our announcements. So we have some birthdays in January. We already had an anniversary. Vinny and Yvonne Samilia was their anniversary yesterday. Happy anniversary. We've got a pasta dude and his wife. Their anniversary is January 20th, so it's coming up. Randy Davis, his birthday is January 30th. January 31st is Kay Fred. And my sister Michelle, I think she's on watching. Hers is January 14th. So I'm sure there's a lot more birthdays. And if you know of any birthdays in January or anniversaries.
Yeah, anybody that wants to give their birthday, let us know. Put it in the chat or just let us know somehow.
Great. We had some also requests. There's someone in Orange County. We're not going to give the name.
No.
California, Orange County, California. They're in need of a car. If anyone knows of a car that it's reasonably priced and preferably an SUV or a truck, because the person needs to be able to get in and out of it. So let us know. And in Indianapolis, we have a person that has a beautiful house with an extra room. If there's anyone in need, like someone who's in between a situation.
It's basically a 20 bed and breakfast situation where they have 20 rooms. 20 rooms. So it's quite a house. And she's makes a room available for someone in need.
Mm-hmm.
For protection or whatever. So I'm just putting that out there.
Yes, so that's where our theme is. A friend in need is a friend indeed. And we have our website. It's called XJW Friends. So on that website, there's meetups. There's also a meetup in Philadelphia in February. That'll be coming up. We'll get more details on that. We're having our local meetup tomorrow night. We have it here at our home starting at 5:00. So if anyone is in our area, we're in the Utica, New York area. You're more than welcome to come. And if there's any other announcements as we go along, please let us know. Okay, Fixing My Faith just put the website in the chat. Okay, so you were going to talk about...
Maybe I want to say a little something about ones who've been calling and what they've gone through and how it's worked out.
We had a nice call yesterday from Alabama, and she was kind of confused. She just needed to talk about it. And she told us her whole situation. By the time we were finished with it, she says, well, I know what I'm going to do. And I'm going to go to the Piggly Wiggly because that's where the witnesses have their cart. And I'm going to talk to the store manager, the branch manager, and I'm going to tell them, I'm going to give them the background history of Jehovah's Witnesses, the child sexual abuse. And she says, I'm just, because I'm a good customer there, and I just don't want to see them out there and they're deceiving people. So she was all fired up by the time we were finished with our conversation, but she had gone through quite an experience, and emotionally, physically, financially, it affected her family in all ways. So we appreciate her calling us, and glad that has a plan of action.
And we connected her with someone?
We connected her, yes. Well, Ken Mayo, for your information, for anybody in Alabama or anywhere, Ken was the first one that we listened to on Wendy Renee, and he put his number out there. He was an elder. He was a pioneer. Both him and his wife were pioneers. So he's got a really good background in the organization and very helpful. He's connected us with a lot of people, and from there we connected them. So it's just been branching out.
Yeah, he put his, the reason it worked is because he put his number out there, his phone number, and we called it. And so we followed that same example. We do the same. We put our number out there, and people, and I'm very thankful that people are using it. And I tell them this, and it's what we're finding from all the ones that have called, and then what they've gone on, from the circumstances that they come with. They're in dire circumstances at that point. They're without any other people. They don't know of any friends available. They're in a really stressful situation because they can't relate it to anyone that knows or cares. And I tell them after about just a period of time that they're talking with us, and basically when they start to realize that they've got other people that they can go to, I tell them, after this phone call, your life has changed. It's because there's other people out there, they're connecting with them, and it works. And they ultimately they get back to us and they show us these relationships now that they're part of. It's all because they made a phone call. And frankly, I'm continually thankful that we do that we put our phone out there. I had a little bit of concern about it at first, but then I thought, if there's no risk, there won't be any gain. So we're very thankful we've done that. So if any one of you can reach out the way any one of you can, do that. Even if you think it's going to be a little bit of a risk, it will be. It will be a risk. There's no question. But that's the only way there'll be a gain. And I just want to let you know, it really is working out really nice.
It just makes us so excited when the friends get back to us.
Yeah.
And they tell us, for example, last night, one of the friends spoke with Dinah Lost, and I see she's on here. And they said they spoke for 2.5 hours. So these are complete strangers, never met. And now they're friends, and they can call each other and, help each other when they're maybe down or they want to share something so exciting. That was one of the responses.
Yeah, and there's more. The reason they're having problems is because they're obviously in the organization that we were part of, the Watchtower organization. And originally it was very good. Didn't it turn out, wasn't it very good at first in that organization in the Watchtower? It seemed to be.
It seemed to.
Promise. There was so much promise.
Yep. I thought it was pretty good.
There was so much promise involved. But if I can give just a little illustration, keep it as short as I can. And it's all based on what Rutherford, Judge Rutherford said the second president, and I rely so much on what he said because it's so true. He said religion is a snare and a racket. Now, I'm not sure why he said that, except for the fact that it's very true. He gave himself away. He gave everything away. But I don't think we were listening. But now we're watching. Well, and here's another associated story with that. The leader, the president, the developer of Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard. Originally, he was in the Navy. He wasn't satisfied with being a ship's captain in the Navy. He got out. He was an author. He wasn't a very good author. But he really decided he really wanted to be rich. Really rich. And he realized, and he knew the only way to be really rich is through a religion. Have a religion. You'll get really rich. So that made sense to us. Even that man knew that a religion will make you very rich. So what he did, he came up with a religion. Apparently he had a good imagination, and he developed a religion. Wow, it was wildly, wildly successful. A super cult, but wildly successful. And it's exactly what Rutherford and Russell did. They came up with a religion. They're originally a company. They're a publishing company, a book publishing, a media company, actually. They weren't the internet, but it was a publishing company, a book company, which disseminates information, media. And if you have been watching Watchtower history lately, one of the two latest history pieces that they have on there, the two latest videos, three actually, deal with Russell and Rutherford. Both of them started out as avowed Zionists. That's not really a religion person. A Zionist is a political person, someone who wants land to go to the nation of Israel, the Jews. That's what they felt very strongly about. And that's what they gave talks about to huge groups, pushing Zionism. That was their purpose in life. Well, world bankers caught a hold of that because that's what they wanted also. World bankers desire Zionism. They want this land. They're land grabbers. So when they realized that these men with a media company who were interested in working at this, they backed them. In other words, they funded them with their world money, the World Bank money. So here they were, a media company selling books, working for Zionism, backed by large banks, came up with a religion, a very unique, exceptional religion. And they called it the truth. Because they must have also realized that that's a great draw for people, a very unique religion. And apparently it worked with great promises. They knew people. They knew people, and they had the means to put that forth, that media company. And incidentally, they used people to promote the message. We were part of that. We promoted the message that they were putting out. We were their footstep promoters, gaining money and influence for them. And again, if you go to Watchtower history and find out what was going on with Russell and all the efforts that he was putting out, he was working for Zionism. You just we just believed he was the president of a religion called the truth, which it was a religion. It was called the truth, but that was just a method to gain riches. And in the process, the people, us, were part of a big group of people that built buildings for them. We volunteered our time. You probably did too. Many of you did. And we didn't get anything in return for it. So they were also a real estate development company. And they got very wealthy, and they used their wealth. And best of our knowledge, it really didn't go to feed the hungry. It really didn't go to feed the poor. It went to Zionism. So when you think of what's going on today, this tragic situation that's going on in the Middle East where people are getting hurt and killed all the time, that's Zionism. The goal is a land grab for land, basically, that's not theirs. But the governments want that. The kings, the governments of the earth, that's what they want. Well, we were working for that. Only thing under the guise of a religion. Well, we were snared into that. And boy, is it a racket, because they got really wealthy from that. And the money went to that. It wasn't a religion. Excuse me, it was a religion, but it wasn't a true religion. It wasn't the Christian religion. It was a made-up religion. Now, this is information that's available. It's out there. Many people know about it. Many people don't know about it. The question is, what will we do about that? We find ourselves in a situation. Many find themselves in a situation now in that organization as a witness, a Jehovah's Witness. They're in the organization, but maybe they don't want to be there anymore. I guess they're called Pimos, physically in, mentally out. Physically in, but they're mentally out. Now, maybe at some point we can ask if anyone sees a problem there.
Just to let you know, we do have someone backstage. It's called he or she is Traveling Pimo.
Okay, thank you, Traveling Pimo. We'll be with you in a second. And we look forward to your insights. In other words, what you've seen, what you're trying to do, what problems that you're encountering, and what you are concerned about as far as gains and losses. And as you come on, let's keep. We won't be looking for any extensive explanations or extensive stories. We can do that later on another situation, on the phone or something like that. But right now, this is just time to weigh in on it and give a chance for others to see what others are going through. Maybe we can gain some insight and figure out the best way to go through this snare. And if I can just quickly characterize a snare. Anyone who does trapping knows what a snare is. Now, most people probably don't do trapping anymore, but there's a lot of people who still, some people who snare, trap animals. And a snare is designed, and it's pretty deadly. For example, for beavers. If a beaver's underwater, they're swimming around, they're looking for food. They look for it underwater, they look for it wherever. The snare is placed like a loop of wire, and there's food, and it's near it or in it. So the beaver sees the food, goes in to grab the food, but in the process, it goes into this loop of wire, snare, that goes around their body, maybe around their leg, and it captures them underwater. And they can't get away. The harder they pull, the tighter it gets. That's a snare. So it looks like they're dead. They're going to drown. or the trapper is going to come by, and if the animal's still alive, he'll be finished off. The trapper person will cut him short. Put him out of his misery, and put him in his bag, and then we'll skin him and sell the fur for people's top hats, because people like to wear top hats made out of beavers. That's what they do that for. So the beaver has an opportunity to get free, though. There's one opportunity that it has, and it has to think about it. It's got its arm stuck in the snare. It can get free if it chews its arm off, which may sound a little extreme, but at least it'll get away with its life. So it got caught in a deadly snare, but yet there's a way to get out, but there's going to be losses. That's what a snare is all about. And that's why Rutherford knew what he was talking about when he said religion is a snare. It's not just something that catches you. It's something that catches you and won't let you go. And if you try to let go or get out, you'll lose. It's diabolical. It's not very nice. We're open to any other comments if anybody wants to add.
Looks like Traveling Pimo would
Traveling
like to come
Pimo,
on.
if you'd like to come on.
All right, let's see if we can get you on. Okay. I think you're just for people's information, there's right underneath where it says Joe and Fran, there's a link for StreamYard. You just have to tap on that HTTPS, whatever it is, StreamYard. You tap on that, that'll put you backstage, and then we'll let you in. So, Traveling Pimo, can you hear us? Looks like your sound is on, your video's off.
Maybe I can bring it while it's taking place, or while people are getting this squared away. Maybe we can bring out another example, a little more relevant.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes,
Hello.
it's great. Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I've never done one of these before.
This is
But I think
we're new to this too,
This
so
is
don't
our
worry
first
about it.
one, so welcome.
We'll get through it.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for coming on.
No problem. I was really excited when I saw you guys were hosting something. So I guess just a little bit of my background, or what my
a little bit of your background, if you could
square that away a little bit, and then
Yeah.
it'll work.
Are you on your phone or tablet or?
yeah, I'm on my phone. You can't hear me anymore?
Okay,
good
yes,
now.
now
It's
it's
good
good.
now. Good
Good.
now.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I am technically a 5th generation.
Wow.
Wow.
So very large family.
Wow.
There are quite a few relatives who never got baptized and don't live like they were ever raised going to the hall. I have a few relatives who are disfellowshipped, and but my parents' immediate relatives, like their parents and their siblings, are all in. So
okay. Your immediate family is it? Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And do they live around you? You live around each other?
Yeah. For the most part, I am pretty physically close to most of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm also a mother. And I guess as far as becoming Pimo, I don't think I was ever fully all the way mentally in, but with my background, I had no other
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah. It's just like it's as if it was assumed. Yeah.
It was assumed I didn't know anything about any other religion except what I was taught.
Yeah.
And I never had the opportunity to ask people questions about my doubts, because when I did, they kind of looked at me like a deer in headlights.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I learned to just put stuff away on a shelf.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, I
I got
didn't.
that.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. You're going to answer the question right now. Go ahead.
Oh, I don't, well, I don't know, but I was just going to say I got baptized
That
pretty
was the
young.
question. Yeah.
But what no one knows is that, and what I think I didn't realize, I was really afraid. I
Uh-huh.
cried when I was doing the questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, when I was doing the questions, I couldn't answer most of them,
Yeah.
but they still let me go
Yeah.
through with it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That probably
And
wasn't a very
so,
comfortable. That probably wasn't very comfortable for you.
no, it wasn't. And I wish my parents had been there when I was doing the questions so they could see
Yeah.
how much I was lacking in knowledge.
Yeah.
But they, I may have told them that, but I don't really know.
Yeah.
So I know once I had gotten baptized, I felt an obligation to live up to my dedication because I didn't
Mm-hmm.
want to be disfellowshipped,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
especially while I was in school. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I didn't feel that all the things they said we were not supposed to be doing was wrong.
Right.
So I had a lot of conflict because I wanted to do all those things, but I knew if I did it, I would get in trouble.
That's right.
Um, and so I guess I did believe in Armageddon, but as I got older and had a family of my own, I got into my 30s and the new system didn't come, and I felt like I had wasted my
Yeah.
life
Yeah.
and I was unhappy. And so I started doing things that make me happy. At this point, I was still mostly mentally in,
Mm-hmm.
but I had decided that I was going to start doing things differently. Um, like, they say live a simple life. I decided I want to be wealthy, even though I know they said it was wrong. I couldn't, I couldn't actually justify. I don't know what happened, but when we got the new Silver Bible and I started reading it, for whatever reason, because of the changes they made,
Mm-hmm.
I could more easily see
Yeah.
that there was a difference between what the Bible actually said and what they were teaching.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so that was the beginnings of me justifying
Right.
pursuing wealth. And I had a hard time with Christmas. I couldn't find any good reason why we couldn't do that. And I think the only reason I didn't do those things earlier is because I was afraid to confuse my daughter because I was still confused.
Yeah.
So my original plan was just to wait until she's 18. So I'll try not to go on and on, but through a series of conversations with my daughter and other relatives, I realized that everyone around me, even those who are disfellowshipped, are all at least still partially mentally in.
Mm.
And as far as my immediate family goes, even though I have relatives who are mentally out, because of the distance in relation, I'm not comfortable talking to them because I don't want it to come up. in conversation with
Yeah.
other relatives.
Yeah.
And then my
Yeah.
daughter, she was on board, but she admitted to me that she was actually still on the fence.
I'm sorry. You messed it. It got messed up a little bit. The last part of what you said.
Oh, is that better?
Yeah. You said your daughter something.
Yes, my daughter admitted to me that she's actually still on the fence.
I see. On the
Um,
fence. Gotcha.
And after an incident a few weeks ago, she said that she wants to study. She said she promised that no matter what happened, she would never shun me. But I realized at that point that she's still mentally in.
I see.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I may have missed it. How old is your daughter now?
15.
15. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you say you attend?
I do, but I have found ways to avoid it without really
Okay.
being noticed.
Okay. Yeah.
What are some of those ways so you
Yeah.
could help others
Yeah.
that are trying to do that? What are some ways?
Well, switching congregations.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's one.
And going on Zoom.
Yeah.
And this may not be relevant to everyone, but being financially independent is important.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
And
good.
so while I used to feel greedy for wanting to make more money, I realized I actually need to.
Yes.
That was wise.
If I'm going to pursue this new life, I cannot be dependent on them anymore. And
so true.
And so this may be unique to me, but because of my circumstances, I've kind of always been invisible in the congregation.
Hmm.
There are a few people who will take notice, but what usually happens when I was a kid and now that I have a daughter, the families will get together and do stuff and won't always invite us.
Right. Soft shunning.
Yeah, it's weird because I don't know why I went through that when I was a teenager. Honestly, I have no clue because I wasn't doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
But cliques have always been a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the married couples and the 2-parent family homes, in my area, even if you're not considered very spiritual, if you are a husband and wife with kids, you'll be included more than the single moms will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And although I have a lot of family, even my family doesn't include me in stuff. I had a relative apologize to me. She felt so bad because she forgot about us. But they'll have dinners and parties, and even in my own family, there are cliques. So I say all that to say that it actually has not been that hard disappearing because people didn't really think about me anyway. No one has called except to get my field service time.
Wow.
The only person who really seems concerned is my mother and my grandmother. But my sister, although she's mentally in, she won't tell my mother whether I'm coming or not.
So are you saying that you still, I'm sorry, are you saying that you still have a relationship with your mother and grandmother? You're still able to talk to them?
Yes, I still have a relationship. I've been telling them that I'm going to meetings. I guess I should have said that first. I'm not going most of the time. I just say I'm going because I go to my sister's congregation And my sister won't tell people if they ask her.
I
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
so in the last 2 months, I've probably only been to 4 meetings.
Right.
Gotcha.
So basically, you're fading.
Fading.
Yes.
But so ultimately, how would you want the rest of the family to view you? In other
You
words,
mean whether
as this progresses, as you continue with whatever you're doing, how would you expect that your family would perceive you, given over time? In other words, after a year, 2 years, 3, 4 years, 5 years.
over time, I know that I will be completely faded.
Mhm.
The only reason I would have to stay is because I need to build a community for my daughter before I take
Yeah.
hers away.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
again, she wants to study, so people will probably love bomb her if I
Mhm.
stop going.
Wow.
But I expect a little shunning. I have relatives who have like never been baptized or have gone inactive, and it's like they're not really included in stuff.
Right.
Our family functions are just active baptized witnesses.
Yeah. Wow.
But I'm okay with that. I love my family, but because of the way, I think partially because of the way we're taught as witnesses, I don't think that my family has ever come to understand what true love really is.
Mm. Yeah.
And so our relationships are strained.
Yeah. No, it sounds like they would be too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
My mother. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
well, and I mean, especially now with all the changes, it's up for grabs as to what changes are going to take place in the way they view what they're doing, the way they view what you're doing. You know, there's so many changes, and there are going to be more changes. How do you
Yeah.
plan? How do you plan?
Yeah.
So I know you say you're concerned about your daughter. She's 15. I mean, my goodness, there's no telling which direction she could go. I mean, things change quickly with a young person. Are there many other young people in the congregation?
There are a few. There's not a whole lot of teenage girls. Most of her friends go to other congregations. She even has friends in other states.
Right.
Yeah, she probably is in it for the friends.
Yeah.
And if she could make friends outside of the congregation, which is not, it's frowned upon, but if she could do that little by little, that would help her see, that there is an outside world.
I've got to ask you too, is she aware at all of any of the XJW experience and what's going on?
I've talked to her a little bit, but my daughter is not very discreet. And I found out that she actually told someone on the other side of her family who is disfellowshipped what I wanted to do. So they said they would never repeat it, but it's like she knew she wasn't supposed to say it, and she did.
Yeah.
So while she's on the fence, I have to be careful until what I'm doing becomes public.
Right. Well, let me ask you this. What do you feel would be best for her? What would you like to see her pursue, knowing what you know?
I want her to learn how to build friendships and get over the fear of non-witness youth.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, and I want her to go to college so she can be more financially stable than the rest of our family, so she can be independent and have more options than the rest of us do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if the discussions surround the benefits of education, the benefits of having enough money, the problems of not having enough money, if that's an ongoing conversation with her, developing things that they could do, she could do if she did, things she can't do if she doesn't, to develop um, an interest in things that you need money for.
Yeah.
If she realizes, I'm going to need money if I want to do this. I can't do this if I don't have money. That in itself is going to be an influencer.
Yeah, she's at a really good age where, she could go either way. And depending on your influence and basically your example, like if you show her that you're happy doing what you're doing and making new friends and, that you don't need the friends in the Kingdom Hall, she's going to pick up on your attitude and your example. It's probably going to be the number one thing.
Yeah, and just the things that you do together, if they take money, if she can't do them without money, well, that might help her make the right decision.
Yeah. And just enjoying life and, rather than everything revolving around the meetings and field services, like, going somewhere and taking a day off and just doing something fun.
You might think of the extreme opposites. Would you really want her to be a good-for-nothing slave? Or would you want her to be a free, expressive person who enjoys a beautiful life?
We're on live.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's not going to, the free expressive life is not going to be attained within that organization. It just won't.
No.
No way. So you're both in a good position to work at your goals. But again, you're not going to go. There's no way that you're going to go dictating to her what she should like and should do. That's up to her too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just as you would have wanted to make your decision, she would want to make her decision as well.
Yeah. It's hard to sit back and watch her do that, but I know it's important to allow her to think things through.
Yeah. Well, the more you expose her to that can open her world up to the outside world to see that it's attractive and it's beneficial, that'll help make the decision. There's very little that society can show her, that the Watchtower can show her, that's going to benefit her. There really is very little. Whereas there's so much available. There's a saying that about waking up. They're saying a person has to wake up and smell the coffee. Well, it's an attractive thing. Or wake up and smell the breakfast being made. You're laying in bed. You're waking. You smell something that's attractive. Well, it gets you to want to get up. What's an attractive smell? It's an attractive sound. In other words, provide things that are attractive to her. Find out what attracts her, what she's interested in. And it might not be what you're interested in, but it might be what she's interested in. And appeal to her with those things. And you'll find her, she'll move in that direction just naturally, just because that's what she's interested in. Asking her, exposing her to different things. You never know. Are you pretty aware of what she likes and doesn't like?
I know that she has expressed interest in the performing arts. She said that she wanted to be an action movie star.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good. We just had a caller call in on the phone because he can't get in on the computer. But his advice to you was to, the longer you stay Pimo, the harder it's going to be. But even if you get shunned, it'll get easier. And the sooner that you're able to get out, that'll be a good example for your daughter. So basically, his advice was, no, don't stay in it any longer than you need to.
See, and you did, you mentioned too that I think you said that she was on the fence. Mm-hmm. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You said that. Think about this. Now, on the fence, or think of this, I don't know if you're familiar with this other situation where a person is straddling a boat at the dock and the boat's in the water, their other foot's on the dock. One foot in the boat, one foot on the dock. How long is that going to last?
Not too long.
No, something's going to happen. And if you don't make a decision, if a decision isn't made, it's probably not going to be a good situation. And it's going to take courage. And there will be some loss. There will be. Mm-hmm. There absolutely will be some loss. But think of the whole world of gain beyond that.
Just to share some of the comments are really good. XJWMJ said to sign up for a dance class together. Let her see the fun side of the outside.
There you go.
Nadine says the organization wants your money, but they don't want you to have a job that makes money. No. Crazy making.
No, well, that keeps you dependent on them.
Yep. Water Baby said travel with her if possible. Discourage her hobbies and encourage her hobbies and interests. These might lead to seeing a life and friendship in a broader world as both desirable and reasonable.
It's just a caution. Just a caution. You said she's interested in the performing arts. The society has the notion that they're going to be like Hollywood. I don't know if you picked up on that.
Yes.
But, well, they think they're going to be Hollywood. They're putting so much of an investment in one of their facilities, and I think they're even looking for people who would be actors and actresses.
Yeah.
I would be cautious. I would be cautious.
Yes.
That doesn't grab her.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're trying to.
Yeah. See, they know the society knows people better than we know ourselves. They did. They do. They know the human motivations better than we know them ourselves. And that's why they were able to take advantage of us. Because we just didn't know ourselves well enough. Mm-hmm. We didn't realize, what needs we had, what weaknesses, what desires, and we left ourselves in their hands because they promised the world, the new world, everything. Mm-hmm. But they didn't deliver on it, and they're not going, and they can't deliver on it. Mm-hmm. It's just a falsehood. So it's so important that we get to know ourselves. It's so important. See, anything that she can do, that you can do to help her, well, get to know herself, to discover who she is. Who am I?
Yeah.
What do I like? What do I like? And leave Jehovah out of the equation, if you know what I mean. It's her. it's her life. She deserves it. And when a
Yeah.
person starts learning about themselves, you know, it's
And that's the age they are learning
it's
about
exciting.
themselves. Yeah.
It's interesting. You know, if you either get books or watch videos on human development, on at different ages in their life, what a person goes through, what can be helpful, what pitfalls. You know, she needs to know that. And boy, there's so much information available. Oh my goodness, just to do an internet search on human development and youth, the difficulties they go through, the human, can't think of the word, but the possibilities that we can have with our life. It's a wonderful time to experience this as she's young. The society will not ever help her to do that. They'll squash all of that. So you're at the point where you can save her from all that. And I'm sure you're going to work at that.
Yeah, and if you want to talk to us further, we'll put our number, we'll give you our number, and you can call us and we can talk a little bit more.
And maybe there's going to be some others
yes, and we
who are
can
in similar
connect you.
circumstance that
That's
have gone
our
through it.
we can connect you with others that are dealing with you know, teenage children. And so if you're able, are you able to get our number down? I'll give you our number.
Sure.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, 315 221 0130. You can text or call on that number. And we're Eastern Standard Time. We're in Central New York State.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
It's so nice you come on and share.
Thank you for calling. Yes.
You know, the word I was thinking of was potential. Human potential.
Yes.
The potential that she has to achieve things with her life. As soon as she starts realizing the potential. And as I said, there's so many videos and information on that opens a person up to realize that they have something very special. And they wouldn't want to miss it.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you for calling in.
Thank you for sharing. Call us as you can.
Yes.
And maybe we can
connect you with others.
And we will do that, and we will maybe bring in another person now.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We've got a pasta babe, Linda. Oh, good. And then we got Colin. Okay. Pasta babe.
Hello.
Hello, Linda.
We're here. Hello. Hello.
Can't hear me?
Yes,
now
we can. Perfect.
Okay, so listening to her gave me all kinds of thoughts, and much like what you were saying, to encourage her daughter to get into things that interest her, right? I'm thoroughly convinced that the whole reason why JW children cannot pursue self-interests is because they will develop their own identity.
That's right.
And the Jehovah's Witness organization can't have that. They only want you to be developed with the new personality, which is the cult personality.
Pastor Babe, it sounds great, but if you can get a little closer, I think it'll be easier.
Okay, how's this?
That's good. It's better.
Okay.
I'm glad you feel that way. I totally agree.
Yeah, so this is a great time for her mother to be encouraging her to pursue her self-interest. That would be so wonderful.
Yeah.
And people that
and incidentally,
drama are wonderful people.
Yeah, I've been accused of being too dramatic at times. No, she's at the age where she's can explore and discover so much. Kind of a scary time too, because decisions have to be made, but with good people around her, people that love her, and not take advantage of her like the organization does. That's the problem. The organization will take advantage of her, and she's to be protected from that organization. at all costs.
And maybe she can get involved in something from school, you know. Then she might make a few local friends
Yeah,
Mhm.
that are
Yeah.
not in the organization. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
yeah. Scary
Wow.
time, but an exciting time for a young person.
yeah. So, please offer, when you do talk to her, please offer her my number.
We
Yes.
will definitely.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. I
See, this
appreciate
is
that.
this is the beauty, and
Thank you.
this is the beauty in what's happening now. There's so many people that offering their love and support, and that's why this is working. And I truly appreciate that. Pastor Dave.
Yeah, this
You
is
can tell
really growing. It's
You could tell she's an amazing mom, the way she thinks about everything.
Oh,
You
Yes.
can tell
and I
she's
think how
just an amazing
practical.
mother.
That's and how practical she's been, and I'm sure she's put, a sacrifice to do what she's doing. That's so true.
yeah, we will definitely link you up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Well,
Yeah.
hang in there. Hang on there, Pastor Dave. Maybe we can bring someone else in on it.
Yeah, we've got Colin.
Okay.
Colin
Thank you,
is
Pastor Dave.
Colin is from the CO visit. If you watch his, let's see, are you there, Colin? Whoops, no, wait a minute. I did something wrong. Okay, we want to change from Apostle Babe to Colin. Nope, they want to change.
Yes, he's
What
on
to
the
do?
Okay, now you're lit
There
up.
we go.
Okay, Colin.
Hello, good evening.
The cuckoo bird says you're on.
Okay.
Good evening,
evening.
CO.
I wish you were my CO.
Yeah,
That triggered
yeah.
me. Don't
Well,
say
that's, yeah, that name's it's a little inside joke, little sarcasm with the name there. CO visit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
thanks, guys. I just want, since this is the first, I believe, live stream for you guys, I just wanted to pop in and just first of all congratulate you on that and your new channel, and
Thank
really
you.
appreciate what the way you're reaching out to people, helping people. I know you've been doing this for a while through some other means and channels, and this particular topic I think strikes a nerve with a lot of people. Anything involving children, of course, is always a very sensitive subject, and there is a very active struggle for the youth's minds that's going on. Watchtower wants them, very young, obviously for the same reasons. While they're impressionable, while they're easy to mold, those ages where the children want to, their social structure is very important, their family, and so it's a really tough thing. With what I kind of came in a little bit late, so I didn't catch the gal that was speaking before. I didn't get her name at the beginning, but I have two daughters, and so I'm not going to give anybody advice about being a Pimo, because I'm not the guy to ask about that. I'll give you bad advice, because I've been out for a long time and I didn't fade or anything like that. I just went right to the point and walked out. I didn't worry about any of that fading or anything. But with my children, I got divorced 10 years ago, and my daughters, my ex-wife was given custody of them, so she's still a witness. Her family are witnesses, and so of course we had this tug of war with them regarding that. So for other parents out there, one advice that I can give you that's really important is, sometimes as parents, and especially when we're ex-witnesses, we want to just get them and unload on them, and tell them all the stuff about the organization and everything that's going on. And I found out that with your children, you have to give them the space, and you have to give them that freedom to make their own decision about what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Because one of the things is that what I did was that ended up working because my oldest daughter, she just turned 20. She never got baptized. She just wasn't having it. No, didn't want anything to do with that, which thank goodness. She never let herself get pressured. She was very pressured. Her family was very disappointed, and but she never got baptized. Now my younger daughter, who is just turned 16 as well, just turned 16 years old. They baptized her without my knowledge of it.
Oh boy.
And so that was something which they would have done one way or the other. She doesn't live with me. So, they were going to find a way to do that. The witness family took that as their responsibility. Like, well, she's, lives over here with us. We have to protect her. We have to do this or that. And so I didn't want her getting baptized without at least notifying me about it, which they never did. And this was when she was like 9 years old. So this was a few years ago. Yeah. Of course, like I said, they got her at that age when, young girls they want to make everybody happy. They want everybody to, they want to be good with everybody. And she wasn't going to go against the grain at that time. Now, and I actually made a video about this a week or so ago. She called me up and we talked for over an hour, and she made herself Pimo all on her own. Wow. She just came and told me this without me having any really involvement in it, because the only thing I've ever done over the years is because, unfortunately for the witness family, there are earthly laws that they have to abide by. And with, when there's a separation, divorce, there's visitation rights and all those kind of things. And so my daughters would spend time with me during certain times. And of course, they would just have to deal with it, right? But I guess they imagined in their mind that when the girls would be with me, I'd be spending every waking moment trying to convince them to not be witnesses, which is the farthest thing from the truth.
Right.
I would never say anything about it, actually. And if they came to me with questions, with curiosity, with anything, I would like to say, hey, I was wondering this or this religion or that or what we believe in. Okay, I'll say, well, let's sit down and why don't we talk about it? Let's. You're not gonna and so they felt that freedom to actually discuss something without it being, are you having doubts? You better be praying. You better go to more meetings. No, they didn't get any of that. So when they came with me, what they found out was, we can actually have a conversation about these things. I can express my concerns.
Yeah.
And the only thing I would tell them is, you guys need to do your own research. Keep digging. If you're having doubts, if you're thinking about this, if you're thinking about that, whatever it might be, just, you are totally free to dig deeper into those things and investigate. Nobody can tell you not to do that. And I said, anytime you want to talk to me about anything, I always told them, I'm not going to pressure you or influence you to do things one way or the other, because in my time when I was a witness, my whole life, I was born in. When I was in, I was in. You know what I'm saying? I was 100%. I was Paul, Saul, whatever. I was full-fledged into it, passionate. Believed it and defended it, and that's fine. I said, but I said when I left, because I found out things that I didn't know before, and I did research. And so it's a very simple thing. When you believe something and then you start doing research on something, you have a doubt and you dig into more of it and you find this new information and you learn this new truth, then guess what? You have to change now. It's very simple. It's as simple as that. You know what? What I believed before wasn't true. It simply was not true. Here's the proof. Here's the evidence that I found. And that's what I had to do. But that was my journey. So my journey is not yours or hers or anybody else's. So I told them, you guys are going to have to also go on your own journey. You have your mom, you have your aunts and uncles, your other family. You can see what they're doing. I said, why don't you sometime just to vary a little bit, kind of like Satan used to say, oh, just to vary. Why don't you, I said, why don't you go talk to them? Go talk to them and voice some of your concerns and see what response you get from them. See if you're given the same freedom to, and of course they wouldn't. They get shut down. They get shut down right away. Oh, don't talk about that. Don't question Jehovah, So what ended up happening eventually is, and what happens with any child, children eventually grow. You guys know it, your parents. And you know what? They might take the path of waking up. They might not.
Right.
You don't know. They're individuals. They're individual people. They have their own way of thinking. They have their own thoughts, feelings. But they're going to get to a point in their lives where they have to start thinking for themselves. They have to start analyzing if this is for me or if it's not for me. And the same with my daughter. One of the really important things was she's like my family, very artistic, with music, with drawing, singing, and she likes to express herself in those forms. And in fact, she's supporting herself right now by a little business that she started where she does drawings of people. So she'll go to a mall or, and she'll do those pictures. And so she's earning her own money by doing that. So she found out that, well, if I stay in this, if I keep doing this, I can't keep this up because, it's individual expression. Okay. Like Apostate Babe was saying, and right away. And that happened to me. And I told my daughter, and I just tried to, to reason with her and to reach out to her conscience, because when I was growing up, when I was her age, I also had this need, I had this desire to express myself through music, through programs at school. And, I'm a musician, I sing and do all these things. And immediately at every turn, I was always getting beat down. Oh, why are you doing that? Oh, you can't do that. Oh, think about Jehovah. Oh, the congregation, this, that. And you're always, any form of creativity, individual expression immediately gets quelled. And I told her, I don't want to see you go that same path that I did and lose those things and give up those things. I said, I cannot let this happen again in my life. I have to break this cycle. And I told her that you have to follow your dreams. You have to follow these abilities that God gave you. God gave you those talents. So how is he not going to want you to develop them? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Okay. And when she started to, get older and realize that, if I go over here and I'm with Dad, I have this freedom. Not freedom to do whatever I want, no, but I can be who I am. Mm-hmm. I can express other thoughts. I can express these desires that I have without immediately getting chastised. Yeah. And so when she called me up, she was just like, I need to talk. She sent me a message, first of all, a text message. And I said, okay, well, let's so we did like a Zoom type call like this. And so what's going on? And then she just started unloading all this stuff. Oh, I can't believe they're doing this. And like she's telling me about the congregation. They're doing this, they're doing that. And I'm like, yeah. I was like, you're just realizing that now? I said, hey, welcome to Jehovah's Witnesses. I can't believe that this is the way it's always been, I told her. This is what being a Jehovah's Witness is. And if you continue on this is what you have to do as well. And I said, right now, you're a minor. So there's certain things that they can't tell you that you have to do, like shunning me, for example, because you still have to visit me. But once you're of age, you'll be expected to stop talking to me. That's what they'll expect of you. So I said, yeah, this is what the organization has always been about. They've always done this. Maybe you're just realizing it now because you're getting older, you're more conscious of things. But I said, this is what it's always been since forever, and it's going to be this way forever. And she was like, no, she's like, I don't want to be a part of this. I'm done with this.
The one nice thing is that that information. There's so much information, so easily
Yeah.
accessible out there now, and young people
Absolutely.
they have it right at their fingertips, literally.
Yes.
They do. We didn't have
Yeah,
that. But they
the
do.
social media and the internet's been the undoing of
Yeah.
Watchtower because they didn't know how to handle it. I don't think they still get it that information's out there for everybody, and especially
In
the
so
younger
many
generation.
In so many places, we hear that there really almost no young people in the congregations. They're mostly older people, and I
Yeah.
think they know that basically they're all going to die off. The ones that are in there
Mhm.
are going to be gone, and they're not going to have too many people replacing them.
Right.
So, I mean, there's going to be a lot of changes taking place.
Yes, there will. Absolutely.
And so we're going to see.
And there'll be
things.
more.
Yeah, it's it. I mean, we may have fears and worries about what can happen, but we're going to be surprised. We're going to be surprised. But we're thankful that there's a group of people now like you and Pasta Babe and Vernon, so many others that are providing a support for them because they need a support. Watchtower was never a support for them, and that's the one thing I tell people. I commend the Watchtower and I condemn them. I commend them for drawing people together and collecting them from all over the earth. People would be like-minded for good, but yet basically they're condemnable because of the dishonesty and because of their illegal criminal practices, the way they cover up abuse. They're just absolutely criminal. So I'm thankful that at least we have this body of people to work with. They're beautiful for each other, and
Absolutely.
we're finding that. Yeah.
Guys,
we
thank you for
appreciate all
the space here. Thank you for letting me
Oh,
on
thank
here.
you.
So I'll let some other people talk. I talked enough, so thank you.
Thank you.
And
No, that's
No,
great.
again,
Oh, you
congrats
gave
on
some great.
your channel.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. You gave some great
Yeah.
Ideas, and that's what we need. We need
No,
great ideas and
and the
successful
people need to continue to hear these things.
strategies. Yes.
My grandmother would
Before I run here, just in summary, guys, everybody that's listening and in the chat, don't underestimate. Don't think that you have to explain every single downfall of the Watchtower to your children. It might be overkill at the beginning.
Yeah.
Just give them an environment, a space where they feel free to express themselves. That's the
Yeah.
bottom line. And let them feel like, okay, when they're talking to you, they're not getting judged. They can express their feelings, they can express their thoughts, and you'll just listen and let them work it out because it will happen with time.
Yeah. That's
So,
an example to follow.
Okay, have a good evening,
Thank you
guys.
so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Sue.
Congratulations on your daughters.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Great work.
Bye.
Bye now.
Okay. MJ's in backstage,
Where's
and he wants
MJ?
to come on.
Come
right
on,
here.
MJ.
All right, we're tapping on
Come
it.
on, MJ. Oops. How does it happen?
What do we do?
Okay, MJ, we want to get you.
Okay,
There
there
you
you
go.
are. Hi, MJ. Thanks for coming on.
How you guys doing?
Good. MJ was in the chat and he said he's working.
Oh,
So
you're
we
working.
appreciate you coming
Looking good,
on.
MJ.
Thank you. I just got out of work actually.
Oh,
Oh, good. Thank you.
Figured I'd pop my little beautiful face for a little bit before I get home.
Oh, yeah. How's your little one doing?
Oh, he's doing great. He's amazing. He's actually been a little sick, so that's kind of rough. But I mean, he just had a doctor's appointment today. And we just tested him for RSV to see if he's got that. So we got to wait for the results tomorrow. But it is what it is,
Yeah.
That's okay.
Is he coughing? Is he respiratory?
Yeah, he's having a hard time continuously drinking milk. And then when he's done drinking milk, he has a hard time catching up to his breaths. So he's he's wheezing, he's coughing, he has a lot of mucus.
Yeah.
Just
But,
a motherly question. Are you
Mhm.
breastfeeding him or bottle feeding?
So she just transitioned to bottle feeding a week and a half ago.
Okay.
So,
Is that when you noticed that he was having problems?
yeah, the transition I think kind of affected him, but the doctor did say just to keep it. If it's just gonna be formula, keep it formula. If it's just gonna be breast milk, keep it breast milk. But she's done with that, so she's gonna keep formula. So we're gonna keep doing that for now.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
good luck with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep us posted how he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm excited that you guys started this channel. This is
Oh,
awesome.
thank you. Well, we all started about the same time, you and
Yeah.
Bern and us, and we've all been doing this together, and we appreciate all the support.
See if I can change my camera. Is that better? Is it better? Oh, that's a lot better. Oh, just show my uglier
There you
side.
go.
Looking good.
Yeah,
Looking good.
yeah. I took this whole no shave thing now more serious because of the whole announcement, the whole beard announcement. So I'm kind of taking this thing a little more serious now. Like looking like a wolf. My wife, she doesn't like the little hairs that hang over the lip. I'm like, come on, like I have to try it. I've been 33 years hairless. I have to give this a
Wow.
try. I just wanted to at least grow and give that little Ron Swanson mustache. If you guys know who that is, oh, I'd love to experience that. But she
This is
says
all
that.
self-expression.
Yeah. But I came on just to say hi. I was I liked what Colin was saying about the kids, and it's funny because I like to give my own advice on my own channel, but there is one thing that I struggle with, and that's children, my own children, outside or inside the organization, with my entire family inside the organization. It's a little scary.
Speak up a little more. Speak up a little more.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So yeah, my children, I have 2 6-year-olds, and it's tough to, I have basically my entire family inside the organization.
Wow.
So having 2 6-year-olds gets pretty tough, because when Wednesday comes around, like today, I get my stepson that gets invited to the Kingdom Hall.
Yeah.
And my son gets invited to the Kingdom Hall all the time. And my son at this point is confused, but my stepson can't stand it. And the reason why he can't stand it is because my own father-in-law, the way he treats my wife and I. So it's a little easier on him to stay away. But when it comes to my son, it's really hard because, well, I'll give you a little backstory. My stepson's side of the family, it's only his grandmother and grandfather that are in. So it's a little easier for him to back out. But my son, his entire family is in.
Wow.
So that's what makes it hard. And it frustrates me. It saddens me. But I just gotta, it's like what Colin says. You can't really dog on them too much on doctrine and what's good, what's bad. Just let them be free and just make their own decisions, because I mean, it's the same thing when kids are in school, right? I mean, if you're pressuring your kids, don't go to that party, don't go to this, don't go to that, that's exactly what they're gonna do. Let them experience what's bad, let them experience what's good, I guess. But I'm still learning. I haven't hit that preteen age yet, so I'm a little scared, but that's what I have Colin at CO Visit for, right? I'll visit him.
Right.
Ask him questions.
All these experienced parents.
He's experienced, yeah. He's extremely experienced. Yeah, I love that. I love how he mentioned his daughter and the story that he gave on that.
Yeah,
what was that?
That was. Oh, I was going to ask you. So, our theme was like strategy for Pimos. So, were you Pimo for a while? What was your strategy to get out? It might help others.
Yeah, so I was Pimo about halfway through 2022. And but I mean, I was still participating. It was because I was this fellowship. I was still participating in a sense where I was going to the Kingdom Hall. I wasn't really doing anything. I was just fellowship. But I was still going to the Kingdom Hall. I did what I had to do to get reinstated. And I got reinstated in February of this year. Sorry, 2023.
Right.
And around March or April, after the memorial of Jesus Christ,
Mm-hmm.
I basically let loose. My wings opened up. I was set free. That's when I officially started being officially Pimo, and I had my questions and started my channel. I don't know, June. So I'm roughly 8 months out.
Wow. You've done a lot in 8 months.
Just
Yeah.
some questions to had you left earlier, what might it have been? What either regrets, either for leaving when you did? Are you glad you left when you did? Would you wish you'd have done sooner? How could you characterize that for anyone else?
I'm glad I didn't leave earlier. But that's only because of my personal experience, because I was in another marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
And I was part of a household where everyone around me was witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to lead by example.
Wow.
And I was already struggling in my marriage. And so just leaving would have just made things worse.
Yeah.
And because of that, the wife that I'm with now was a pioneer at the time. So if I would have left, I probably would not have been with her right now. She would have not seen me as that example.
Mhm.
Wow.
I just wouldn't be on her, her tunnel vision would not be on me. So I'm in my personal experience, I'm glad I didn't leave earlier.
Great.
But everyone's different,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's to be acknowledged. It has to be unique to your situation.
Yeah.
And you have to think. You have to think about what relationship you have, which relationship you don't mind losing, and
Yep.
which you want to maintain.
And also, MJ, for the audience that doesn't know, you were living out of your car for a while.
Yeah,
How did that happen?
I started questioning. I was living with my father-in-law at the time because we had recently moved out of an apartment, and just to save money to buy a house, and we moved in with my in-laws, her parents, and this was around right after I got reinstated. We got reinstated, and I started questioning, and one of the biggest questions I had was about 1914, and this all started because I had knocked on somebody's door. First time out after being out for like a year, knocked on somebody's door, and they asked me this one question that basically changed everything for me. And they said, "How do you know Jesus came in 1914?"
Right.
Wow.
And it changed everything for me. I tried searching all over jw.org. I read the Bible. Nothing added up. Had asked my father-in-law those questions to see if I can get like his opinion or his and he's a pioneer. He's very well known in the congregation. He's smart. He's book smart. He's read everything. He's read the Quran. He's read all manuscripts. He knows it all, which is a little odd that I'm the one that woke up and he didn't. But so I came to him for advice, and long story short, one of the elders in the congregation, whom I was trying to speak to as well, approached him and told him that I'm no good news and I should be stayed away from. And I guess he started putting two and two together, what the elder was saying, my questioning. He didn't like that. I stopped going to the meetings. He definitely didn't like that. And he's also a very judgmental person. So eventually he kicked me out of the house and I was living in the car. I wasn't allowed inside. I wasn't allowed to be around the driveway or even parked outside the front of the house. I had to sneak into the house around midnight, 1 a.m. I had my wife unlock the door just so I can go in sometimes.
My goodness.
My wife, what, 5 to 6 months pregnant at the time. Slept with me a couple times in the car. So I mean, I had to go through that. Everyone goes through something different, but it goes to show, like everyone will struggle making their way out, but it's what happens. It's what the result that comes from it. Because I learned how to survive on my own. I learned what it means to have shower trucks. I didn't know what shower trucks were. I got to go visit some truck stops and take showers there. So I didn't know what that was. I got to buy myself an air mattress and fill it up, put it in my car. I learned from that. And basically, I guess that's where I started to become more independent, because in the organization, you're not taught to be independent. You don't know what it's like.
No.
And I was in survival mode, and I was basically forced to do it. But I'm glad, because I got to see the real side of the organization, the conditional side. And that helped me not seem so crazy, because I'm like, I hit a real low thinking, am I the crazy one for thinking what I was thinking? Maybe I'm just so dumb, and but I'm glad that I got to really see and really prove that what I was thinking was legit. So, and then I got to start my channel, meet you guys. I got to see you guys in person. It's always good that comes out of something that sucks sometimes.
I know, that was great. One other question that ICU had, she said, asked, did your current wife get out before you did, MJ?
No, that was something. And I'm so happy that she's out right now. But it was hard, because during that time frame that my father-in-law kicked me out, it was because of that my wife was starting to wake up. And I'll be honest with you guys, like during that whole process of me waking up and my father-in-law, me and him having our questioning, my wife didn't like it. She was upset most of the time. We had our arguments. Nothing too serious, of course. I try to be as peaceful as I can, because that's one of the most important things you have to do when you're waking up, is to try to be calm and collective. Because the moment you're waking up and realizing things, it's gonna hit you hard, and it's gonna change you. You're gonna see a side of you that you haven't seen before, because you're gonna feel frustrated, you're gonna feel anxious, annoyed, and them seeing you calm and collective will actually push them in the right direction, into thinking, maybe this guy makes sense, maybe he's onto something. So my wife, that's what I tried to do, and she realized how I was the calm one, and my father-in-law was the mean one. He was the crazy one. And then when he kicked me out of the house, that was like breaking the ice. And she started asking me questions more and more. And with our baby on the way, I got her into the blood doctrine, because she almost died on her first birth.
Wow.
And she was actually given a blood transfusion, because her ex-husband at the time administered it. She even got sent to the little room at the Kingdom Hall and everything. She got in trouble for that.
She's in Holland.
But because of that and her experience with the blood transfusion and her almost, death, I got her into thinking it again. And that's how I got her to fully wake up.
Tremendous.
It's a beautiful story.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's something.
Maybe, can we let someone else in to hear from someone else? Would you like to hear from someone else?
No problem.
Thank you. And thank you, MJ.
Happy Heretic is here from Holland.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello there.
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh,
Welcome.
good. Hello, everyone.
Hello. You just said it's 2:33 a.m. in Holland.
Wow.
Yes, but I didn't have to work tomorrow. I took some days off, so I thought, oh,
Wow.
I'm coming
2:30.
up.
Glad you stopped in.
That's nice to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Now, are you Pimo?
No, I'm out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
Were you
left,
Pimo at one time?
Yes, and you have
Okay.
to be really careful, in this organization. Like nice and along going like a dove, and be sneaky like a snake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Develop
So true.
tactics.
Congratulations on being out, by the way.
Yes, thanks. It was in 2021. The
2021.
memorial was my last Zoom meeting that I did not attend. I had a black screen on.
Oh, so in 2021.
Mine too.
was the
Yes.
last time.
22.
Okay.
22 is when you first went
Last
on.
meeting.
Yeah, Joe's
memorial?
was, our last memorial was 2022,
22.
and we went in person.
Oh,
And
what
it
a
was
mistake.
like, oh my goodness, it was
What
a
a mistake. It was
totally,
terrible.
it was horrible. It just
Oh,
was
that's
so, they looked so plastic, and the speeches were so plastic, the talks, excuse me. They were just so,
Yeah.
I don't know.
And at that point, I mean, maybe everyone else has some views on this, but we know what it was like. The attitudes were like in 1985, 86, the 90s, what the mood was like. The mood has changed so much with the people. It's gotten so sad and either confused or like as if they were just resigned to something. And there has to be so many problems with that emotionally. And I know just what it seems like. It started out where people had a very strong view and understanding of themselves and of their future. Now, I think they don't have that very strong view of their future, and they have doubts about it. In other words, even who they are, and that's like what we would call an existential crisis. In other words, what am I here for? Really, what's going on? What am I going to do? What do I do with my life? Is this the right thing for me? Did I make a mistake? And I can't help but feel there's so many people that are going through that right now. And some of the Pimos know that. The Pimos know that. The ones that know they're Pimo. There's so many in their organization that don't even know that they're Pimo yet, but they're going through this difficulty.
It's so true.
And it's not healthy. It simply is not healthy.
Happy
Yeah,
Heretic, I was going to ask you, did you fade or did you just quit? That was it.
I started waking up during the lockdown with my friend Doreen in England. She's Dutch too, but she lives in England. She lives in England now for 20 years. We started reading the Bible because I was home from work, but I got fully paid my salary for the whole year. So I had a sort of Corona vacation.
Wow,
We started
that's
reading
nice.
the Bible. We started reading the Bible, and my friend, she researched narcissism because she thought her parents were narcissists. She grew up, she's third generation, and she's been studying narcissism for a few years. And during the lockdown, she sent me some videos of that. But I was researching the organization because I had like maybe about 15 friends who were sexually abused. And some of them could only tell to me after 20 years that we knew each other. And I sent her videos, from our apostate friends from YouTube. And I knew I was going to stop with the truth. And I knew I had to be really careful. But at some point, you just can't listen anymore, to the meetings.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started putting my screen on black, and I put it in a drawer and watched a movie or something.
Yeah,
We did too.
We did the same.
And then, at the beginning and the end, I waved goodbye, and
Yeah.
and I did say, let me see. So this was going on for about a year, right? And I started telling my aunt and uncle. They were witnesses before I was. I was baptized in 85. I took Bible study when I was 15. In 82, I was still going to school with my mother. I took Bible studies. My aunt and uncle were already witnesses then. So we went to the Kingdom Hall right after the first time we had Bible study. And we took Bible study because my grandfather died. Then you're asking and you get the answers. And the message is beautiful, a paradise, resurrection, peace on earth. But when you wake up, that all goes away. I still believe in those things, but not the organization anymore. But
So
I told some friends, sisters, that I was going to leave and why. And then I just stopped going. And the memorial was the last one.
So do they think that, are you disfellowshipped, or did you disassociate?
I don't know.
Did you just, okay.
I didn't disassociate. I was
They
thinking
didn't
about
bother you?
No. And my friend said, well, I'm not going to disassociate because I don't want to give them the power. That's what they want. So I don't know if I'm disfellowshipped or what. And when I see brothers or sisters, I saw a few of them. And I just went to them and hugged them and kissed them. Some don't know what to do, but others, they did it too. So the control is less, because they gossip. So there are a lot of that don't speak to me anymore, but it doesn't hurt as much as I thought it would. I wake up happy every day.
That's good.
That's great.
That's great.
I did a test, a religious trauma test for myself, and there were 20 questions, and one of them was negative for me, so I didn't have much trauma, but I went to a religious trauma therapist, and she's been a witness for 52 years, and her name is Frances Peters. She's been on YouTube, and she also said, you don't have much trauma, you're in some kind of euphoria. And she said, I had that too. And she said, do you miss the brothers and sisters? Because I didn't. And I said, I don't miss them at all.
Mm-hmm.
After 39 years in.
Wow.
And I thought I would, but I don't.
I don't either, and I was close to a lot of them, but once you realize how fake it is and how it's just, what's the word? Conditional?
Shallow.
It's like it didn't bother me that they didn't talk to me anymore.
No.
Were
I
you?
already made some friends, that's the advice you get from some of the YouTubers. Make some friends, get a safety net. So I got, more friendly with my neighbors here and with colleagues. And I planted some seeds with my aunt and uncle, and they woke up at 75 years of age. So,
wow.
And they're out as well.
Wow.
And they live like 200 meters away from me.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Can I ask you what seed did you plant?
That's
Do you remember?
What?
Well, my uncle, he's been saying for years there's something wrong in the organization, but I don't know what it is. And my aunt, for the past 10 years, my aunt, she got nauseous and sick before she went to the hall. And the same, my friend that I woke up with, she had the same thing. She got nauseous and sick before she had to go to the hall, and they didn't understand what it was. And so I said, well, my aunt and uncle, they're 75, they didn't have internet, but they had to get internet because of the meetings were going on Zoom.
Oh, sure.
Zoom.
Yeah, and I said, maybe I can show you some videos on YouTube now that you have internet, and maybe then you'll know why you're sick, and then you'll see what's really going on.
Yeah.
And I showed some videos, and they both said, well, we can't go anymore either.
Wow.
Wow.
Now that you know what's behind it all,
Do you remember
what the organization behind the name, what it really is.
Yeah.
The first video.
Do you remember what you showed them?
Yeah, what videos?
So they really liked Lloyd Evans, and I
Lloyd
showed them
Evans, yeah.
about the investments they have, and well, Tony Morris buying booze.
Yeah.
That's
so good, very good.
Yeah, we watched a lot of Lloyd Evans in the beginning, and Eric from Bereans
Pickets.
We watched him.
And
And it was like
Elaine
it
Bales
was like a
from
week
Jacob.
after. I'm sorry. What was the last thing you said?
Oh, I watched the same YouTubers that you did, and Elaine Bales helped from JWScape. And there's something that I want to say what she tells lots of times, that as a child she knew already that she didn't want to be a Jehovah's Witness, and I think a lot of children and young people are trapped.
Yes. Yes. Well, this is a time of awakening for so many people, and there will be the ones that awaken, and honestly, I think there will be ones that don't. And in all fairness, some need an organization like that. They need it, and they will find comfort in an organization like that. But it's so important for the ones others to get out.
That's what makes it hard. What was that?
I missed the last thing that you said. That heretic said.
Oh, what was that?
That's okay. It's kind of soft, so it's hard to hear.
Maybe Linda knows.
I know Linda's listening too.
Thank you.
Yeah, if Linda wants to come back on, we can have more in the studio.
Whoever wants to come on.
Do.
Let's have a party.
I asked her if she was coming back.
Yeah, she's in the chat.
Yeah.
So come on back.
Maybe there's some words that you can give to others, Pimos that are out there right now.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask Heretic if she has a channel, or have you shared your story anywhere, or is this your first time just joining in?
This is the first time I'm calling in with Fran and Joe. No, I have a channel, but I don't do anything yet with it. Maybe I'm gonna tell my story. Actually, Laurie Jane from Finding Laurie Jane, she did an interview with me. Yeah. And her video popped up, as as so many videos do. And I got in contact with her. And next day she called me, and she has an Exodus group. It's a it's a support group for ex-witnesses or other former cult members or people who want to get out. And I'm doing that as well. So that's nice. It helped me a lot. So I want to help people.
Yeah.
You kind of concentrate on the Bible. You do kind of like a Bible study.
No, this is
it's different.
Without doctrine. Yeah, it's like Liberati, something like that.
Yes, Liberati.
Oh yeah, Liberati. Yes. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Good. Thank you.
I joined Bible study with Lori Jane as well, but the Exodus group, the Exodus support group, is solely for helping others who want to get out or are out. Just chatting, encouraging.
Is that a Facebook page? Is the Exodus group a Facebook page?
Well, Lori Jane has her own website, simplychristian.faith. And it's,
okay, so just go on Lori Jane. Okay.
Yeah. Finding Lori Jane channel.
It's good for our viewers.
I can put it in the chat. Friday
yeah,
evening.
I think Linda James is in the background again.
This Friday we have.
So it looks like Linda's back on. Linda.
Hello.
Hey, Linda.
Hey.
There you are.
I've met this lady and she's freaking amazing. She's just like you guys. Like she gets people to meet each other. And they do, and it's always good.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, she's like that.
Yep.
Yes. Your sound sounds much better, Linda.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Yeah, I love your picture.
As Joe and I were talking. Yeah, she loves the picture. Joe and I were talking about it in the organization. The whole shunning idea is so that people would not have connections. You would be separated.
Yes.
And on the outside story, we're doing just the opposite. We don't shun. We make connections with people, and then they make connections, and it's just growing organically. I mean, we're not the only ones. We just give out names, and then they talk, and then they can give out names. And Joe even mentioned, he said, when and if the internet ever goes down, and this is a really important point, when and if the internet goes down, how are we going to stay in contact with each other? Well, we've got the phone, and we've got we got the good old mail, where we can send someone a card or letter. We're trying to just birthdays, send a birthday card, because when we were in the organization, we couldn't celebrate it. So at least a happy birthday or happy anniversary. Of course, we always celebrated the anniversaries, but birthdays especially are important.
Yes. It's a day that you get to celebrate you. And heaven forbid we celebrate ourselves. In the organization, that's just not allowed.
I know.
It's too bad.
Yeah, if you really think about it, it's very narcissistic. What was that? You hear me?
No.
I was just gonna say, anniversaries are like another form of narcissism, because you're thinking about yourself in a sense. They want to always think about celebrating one thing, and they only using it to back up their celebration on the memorial. Because if anniversaries were a bad thing, then they can't do memorials, because memorials is a yearly thing. But it's sad to think that they don't do birthdays, because didn't the heavens rejoice when Jesus was born? You know?
Yeah, yes, and all the angels worshipped him.
Yeah, that's it's very narcissistic that they don't want you to celebrate you. It's always
Hmm.
about them, and
Yes.
it's always gonna be like that.
It's part of taking your personality away.
Mm-hmm.
It's all
Definitely,
about control.
it is always control, manipulation, control, fear, all the above. But
Yeah, I I heard I got a little video clip on my phone. It's from a talk from Mark Sanderson, and he says when people are afraid, they are easy to manipulate.
Yes.
I am.
Hard to hear.
Fred
So
and Joe.
keeping us in that place of fear all the time, we're more
Hi.
easily
Hi.
directed.
I wanted to comment just quickly, and then I'm going to get off the screen. But someone in the comments mentioned it as well, that the memorials could be like a satanic thing. Now, let's think of it this way, outside of the box. What does Satan want most? He does not want anybody to follow Jesus' invite. Jesus' invite was to everyone to become his brother. And he says, come join me, eat of the bread, drink of the wine, join me. But what do they do at the memorials? All those elders, now, the elders stand around and scrutinize. If 10 people took the emblems, they'd be scrutinized, guaranteed.
Yep.
Because I traveled around with elders that scrutinized one old lady that took the emblems.
Yes.
And I think the whole congregation should be taking the emblems if you want to see the Holy Spirit work. But let's think outside of the box. What does Satan want most? He does not want anybody to be Jesus' brother. And that's what this organization promotes. No one is Jesus' brother except those 9 men. Anyways, that's all I have to say. I'm going to remove myself. Bye for now. And thank you, guys. You
Thank you,
guys are a
Barry.
great audience. This is such a great show. And thank you so much, Joe and Fran. I'm going to go backstage and
Thank
keep
you,
watching.
Vern.
It's great.
Yeah,
Bye
in
for
fact,
now.
I'm actually gonna head out
Thank
myself.
you,
Thank you,
Vern.
Vern.
Yeah, interestingly,
I have to get home.
if you want to look up a little,
It's good to meet you, Jay.
okay. Well, glad you stopped in.
Yeah, it was
Thanks.
fun. It was great. I had once again.
If anyone
Congratulations.
wants to look up,
There's a delay, so when I
Oh,
talk,
thank
I
you,
might be
MJ.
doing.
Thank you
Thank
for
you,
coming on.
Yeah, no problem. You're
that's
welcome.
okay.
And
That's okay.
That's okay. I'm
Okay.
glad you come.
Okay, love you. And hope your little one
nice
gets
to
better.
meet you.
Yeah.
And nice to meet you. What was it, Linda? Nice to meet you. I think, right, Linda? Not too
Yes.
sure.
Yes.
All right.
Great
Nice
to
to
meet you.
take care, guys.
You too. A little further on that, what Vern was bringing out, you'll see something under under black mass. It's referred to as like a black mass, MASS. It's interesting how they describe it and how it's viewed. The mass is the Catholic thing where body and blood of Jesus Christ is brought out, but this is referred to as the memorial is referred to as a black mass. It's really interesting. There's so much good in research out there too. And if there's anything that anybody wants to share for anyone to look up, we can. But what I would encourage folks to look into Watchtower History channel. Watchtower History, tremendous background on the presidents of Watchtower and how they were really Zionists. And really, this organization is a political organization that pretended to be a religion. And, that's a big pill for many people to swallow. But some people will never swallow that pill. But the more information we find on it, the easier it is to accept that. and the faster we can move forward. What we find is what happens with a lot of the folks who are in the chats together, people who have get together in discussions, that they're continuing to talk about Watchtower and about the negative things that they experienced in Watchtower. Well, we can do that the rest of our life if we wanted, but that's not the outside story. That's the inside story. And we have to be very careful not to dwell on all those negative things. And so, of course, the more we expose ourselves to people who are outside, the more we'll discover something really special. And we're seeing that happen. See, we came into the organization from outside. We were 33 when we came in. So we had a culture before that. How about you, Heretic? Did you say you came in later?
At 15.
Okay.
15.
I took Bible studies with my mom from Witnesses.
Okay.
I was
Okay.
baptized at 18.
Okay.
Pioneered for 10 years or so.
Yeah.
And Apostle Babe, you were never baptized, right?
That's correct. I grew up in the organization I was born in, and I didn't get back. It wasn't for a lack of trying. I studied twice and just could not make sense of it. And I thought it was just me. But today I can really see it does not make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't see it, Linda.
You were very wise.
Well, the more research you do, and the more research you do on it, and you find out what was in the mind of the men, Rutherford and Russell, you realize, well, it all makes sense now. It makes sense because of what they were doing, what they did,
Yes.
and how we fit in. But if you don't know the backstory, it doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. And I believe my special ed teacher taught me to think critically and to think outside of the box when solving problems, because I had learning disabilities and stuff. So I would get to a certain point, I'd take it to him, he'd make a few suggestions. He didn't tell me how to do it, but he'd make a few suggestions that I hadn't thought about. And then I'd go again and try again to do whatever the problem was I was doing. And that's how I approached my Bible study. And I didn't go to the next level until I was done with the level I was at. But the Bible study conductors wanted to push me along. And I'm like, wait a minute, I have to understand this first. And they'd still want to push me along.
Yes.
And I would begrudgingly agree. And then 3 more points above, ahead, I would wait a minute, I have to understand this and that back thing. I was just like that. I have to make it make sense. And then just could not.
No, that was
Very smart.
Thank you.
That was so good.
Yeah, I'm so
And I
glad
really
you didn't
thought
get
it was because I
baptized.
was dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I had no idea what a bullet I dodged. I had no idea until later on checking into all the doctrines and stuff. Wow.
Yeah. And this is where so many people who are Pimo and disturbed by what's going on, they really need to understand themselves more deeply. They really do. And there's no easy way to do that, but it is rewarding. I mean, it is interesting when you start to learn about yourself. It's nothing to be scared of. Sometimes it's a little troubling. You find out things about yourself that you wish weren't real, but then there's we have a potential. We have a potential to become something special. And I certainly hope that more young people are looking at that. I hope more young people are open to discovering their lives and not Watchtower. I think they are, personally, from the stories that we're hearing that more young people are opening up and coming out.
Yeah, I see.
So it's going to be
Snooker is trying to get on. I hope she does. I hope it works.
I saw in the comments that Snookered
Oh.
3 Jen is trying to get on. I was going to ask
But-
Vern or Shauna if they could help her get on. Snookered 3 Jen, she says, I tried to get on but got a lot of echo and feedback.
didn't even
So
come
she
on.
has to shut down that one page that still has YouTube on,
Yes.
or exit that page. When I first switched over here, I was hearing the background too.
Yeah, I turn on the
okay.
sound of a YouTube channel, and I go on StreamYard, so I have them next to each other.
Interesting.
So she has to shut down her YouTube.
Now the sound of YouTube.
Say again.
Oh, down her sound.
Shut
For
down the
sound.
sound of YouTube, and then come on StreamYard.
Okay.
But I'm on my computer, so
Yeah, I don't know what she's using.
I'm
Okay,
on my smartphone, so when I came over here and heard the echo, I decided to close up the page that I had YouTube on, because that what was making the echo. Yes.
Yeah, ICU said to disconnect from YouTube, stay on the internet. So if you can do that, we'd love to have you on. The more the merrier.
yeah. Come on StreamYard and get off YouTube.
Oh, we
I
had
Has
a lot of
hope
nice,
make it. I hope Snooker can make it because we know
nice
each other.
input tonight.
Oh, Linda knows Snooker as well.
Has someone joined us?
Am I on?
Well, I think they'd
think
like
so.
to, but
I think you're
Hello.
there.
I'm here? Am I on?
Ah, yes.
You
Oh,
are.
Yeah, we don't see you.
we don't see you, but we hear you.
No. Yes, I'm not. You're not going to see me, but I had to get on because I know all of you guys, and it's just been a great journey getting to know everybody. And it's just how cool that we're all on this format with Joe and Fran.
Is this
Great.
Elaine?
No, I'm not
It's
going to use
Snooker.
my real name.
Nadine?
It's
Okay,
Snooker.
that's
Now,
okay. You don't have to give your real name. It's just that you sound like someone else. Okay, no, you don't have to give your name. That's okay.
She sounds like Snooker.
Yeah.
That's right. I've heard of Snookers before. She sounds just like her. Yes. That's our
Yes.
Snooker.
Yeah, the reason that I go by that is my grandfather called me Snook as a child. And then I felt it was really appropriate that I feel snookered by this whole religion. So
It's about true.
That's so true.
Which would be the
So what's
opposite
your
of actually getting a Snicker bar.
So Snookered, what is your background or?
well, I'm third generation in, and basically I'm 60 years old, and I woke up a couple years ago. So I've been a long time in this organization and had some really tough things happen to me, and realized that the elders they did nothing to help. And so I'm not going to get into all the details, but it took a lot to wake up, and part of it ended up being the liaison committee. I was faced with possibly needing a blood transfusion, and I just thought that the liaison committee would come in and scoop me up and help me navigate the whole situation. And they just basically told me that I was on my own, and if I had the procedure, they'd come to the hospital and make sure that I didn't get a blood transfusion. And there's just a lot of bad elders, and the elder arrangement is what woke me up, and it is not a loving arrangement. and there is no shepherding. You know, I've seen behind the curtain just with my own family and the elders in my family, and it's embarrassing. It's really embarrassing. And, you know, I always thought, well, you know, these are isolated incidents, and, you know, the imperfect men thing. Well, the imperfect men thing can only go so far. You know, there's just no love. There's just no love. And I think we've all seen more love getting out of this organization than we ever experienced in it. I mean, Diana's across the pond, and we've gotten to be very good friends. You know, Linda's down in California. We've had many long talks. I've talked to you, Joan Fran, and there's just so much more love outside of the organization. And that should tell us all something.
So what is your status now? Are you Pimo, or are you out, or did you fade, or what did you do?
Well, I'm Pomo now. My husband and I started fading. I actually woke up during a Watchtower study. It'll be 2 years ago in April, the Watchtower on Do You Trust Jehovah's Way of Doing Things? And this might seem silly to some people, but there was a paragraph about how if your congregation is shut down and you get moved to another congregation,
Yes,
do the elders have divine direction in deciding where you go? And they just simply said no. And I remember I just looked around the Kingdom Hall, and they didn't say they prayed about it. They didn't say anything. They just talked about room capacities. And, you know, Maya Angelou had said something years ago that always had a big impact on me, that when people show you who they are, believe them. You know, but as witnesses, the organization keeps telling us who they are, and we don't believe them. You know,
I know.
They tell us that they're not inspired and they're infallible. And, you know, I've had witnesses say, oh, well, no, they didn't mean that. Yeah, they did.
Yes, they did. That's why they said it.
And so that Watchtower study just really, like, they're telling me there's no divine direction. Well, if the elders don't have divine direction when they're assigning you to a new congregation, when do they? They don't. And so my husband and I started fading then from April to October. And then we went to a meeting in October, and I knew I would never set foot back in there. I couldn't stomach it anymore. Yeah. And so we've not been back. It was a year, the end of October, and we've had one elder and his wife try to contact us right before the CO's visit. But otherwise, everybody's afraid of us. Nobody's come, they haven't come looking for us. They haven't asked what happened. We ran into an elder in a restaurant 2 months after we hard faded, and he tripped over himself and basically ran out of the restaurant. He said, oh, I didn't recognize you. And then he just turned and ran. I mean, and we've not said anything.
They are afraid.
And we haven't said anything.
Oh, dear.
They don't know anything. But I think they're so afraid to know why we left. You know, we weren't fanatical witnesses.
They don't want to know.
You know, why would these people after decades just up and leave? But they're afraid to know. And that's fine. I mean, I'm grateful that we don't have them hounding us, but I think it's just very sad that we were all raised, or, in the truth, the example of, the shepherd that he loses a sheep and he leaves the 99 and goes and finds the lost sheep. And that simply really isn't the case with a lot of people. I read on Reddit, some get hounded, but it seems like everybody's afraid of why you left. And it's probably because of their own insecurities about the organization.
I think so too. So, can I ask you then, how is it on the outside? What new feelings, what new things are you doing that you didn't do before?
Well, I'm fortunate enough. I have a son and a daughter, and my son he tried for a long time and got really beat down by the congregation, and he finally left. And so he never got baptized. And my daughter did, but it didn't take, you say you can't wake people up. Well, I woke her up, and it didn't take much.
Wow.
And
Well,
so
you can't wake them up unless they're ready. She must have been
Right.
ready. Mhm.
Yes, that's very true, Linda. She was ready, and my sister and her family are out. So I am definitely one of the lucky ones that I was able to get out with family, and then I've been able to meet wonderful people like you guys. And I had my first Christmas tree this year.
Wow.
And my grandchildren will never know this craziness.
Mhm.
That's good. That's so good. I'm so happy for you. Congratulations.
Yes. So
That's a blessing.
I
And
just
so
want
do you have any?
to cry.
Go ahead.
I think
That's
it's
a
just so
cry.
beautiful.
That's beautiful.
I'm so touched. Wow. Wow. And when you said your grandkids are never going to be affected by this, that speaks so huge. That's just like, you've been a part of making sure that won't happen for them. Wow,
Yep.
Good for you.
We had really nice family time, and my grandson opened his presents, and it just all felt good. It felt good.
That's beautiful.
And it's interesting what was brought up about the Black Mass. That makes so much sense to me now, that we actually went to Memorial all these years and we rejected Jesus.
When you think about it, we all had to touch the plate. We all had to touch the glass. So we literally, physically refused it. It didn't fly by us. We touched it and refused it. Yes, that's a deep.
They deceived us.
Yes, they did. I remember seeing someone get thrown out the back door because he partook. When I was, growing up, this one guy would just partake every year, and then they'd throw him out the back door, throw him out the back door. You could see him almost flying. It was amazing. Yes.
Wow.
A lot of they have a lot of people partaking now. Like how many? 22,000 or something like that. I think maybe they're waking up.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
And then they talk about those that do partake as possibly being with some mental problems,
Mm-hmm.
So that's degraded right off the bat. So you can't think of them as being authentically
Yes.
one of the 104 anointed,
Yeah.
I think it's fascinating, this fear that the elder had when you ran into him at a restaurant. How we're apostates. There's so much fear indoctrination put into the followers that when they get around an apostate, they're scared crapless because we've gone and joined the devil as far as the organization is concerned. We've left God and joined the devil, which of course we have not, but that's the teaching. So for him to be so scared, it's just mind-blowing.
Yeah, no, it is very mind-blowing. It's very the fear. Being in this my whole life, I know all about the fear, but the fear of apostates that is being generated now by the organization is so amped up, and it just speaks to their fear of us, because
Yes.
it's very easy to expose them. This whole thing that, truth isn't afraid to be questioned.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole time I was in, I never understood, if apostates were telling so many lies, then why didn't we simply just diffuse it and show why it's a lie? Why would we not even engage or know what it was? I was always raised, you need to stand up for the truth. You need to stand up for the truth. That's just ingrained in our heads, that we
Yes.
have to be a witness and we have to stand up. Well, then why are we so afraid to stand up to apostates if they're wrong?
Exactly. And you and I came from a time that we went to theocratic ministry school every Thursday night, and we learned how to actually debate at the door. So we really did stand up for our faith. We were taught to stand up for our faith. Today, it's hand out a card at the cart. And if there's an argument that starts, don't engage. That's what they're taught today, which is so foreign to me.
Well, I just think it's interesting that, as we've all listened to Let tell us that we're in the last days of the last days of the last days of the last days. And, we studied the Revelation book 3 times. We studied the Daniel book. If we're in the last days, why are they not studying prophecy? They're studying fluff. It's all fluff. There's no substance to the meetings anymore. It just boggles my mind.
Yeah.
I think that. Oh, go ahead, babe. Pastor Babe.
No, that's okay. I've already forgotten it. It's okay.
Thank you. I think we're at the point where there's plenty of evidence as to what kind of organization it is. Plenty of evidence, and there's plenty of victims that have come out. People have been hurt, and it's absolutely clear what they are. And I mean, even Rutherford was nice enough to tell us right from the very beginning that religion is a snare and a racket, both. And they've been nice enough to prove it. They're proving it. So we're left with now, okay, so what do we do about it? We can talk about, we can keep talking about it. We can do that. You squabble, keep talking until, we all come up and realize, there's something I can do about it. Personally, there's something I can do about it. And I think that's a journey in itself for everyone to come to realize, there's something I can do about it. And it's personal, because not everybody's going to do the same thing. They really aren't. But each one has the opportunity to do something about it. And that's to me, that's mission. That's mission. We have a mission, our mission. And when a person finds that, they've come to something important for their own life, rather than waiting till someone tells them, well, you need to be a this, and you've got to feel this way, and you've got to do that way, and you've got to fulfill all these requirements of men. And I think we've my idea was rather than apostates, which I objected to being called, I said, we're not apostates. We're graduates. We graduated. We're out. We're out. We're through going to school. Now we're out. We're going to do something with it. And we are. Watchtower taught us. They taught us a method, and they also gave us the means to do it. They taught us, and we're doing it. We're doing it.
There's a great number that are leaving, and they need help.
Yep.
They need welcoming. So we need to be on the watch for them, and they have a safe place to come to, and
Yes.
or they need help with that strategy, because right now there's people that are under terrible emotional distress, nervous breakdowns, because they're finding out the truth is not the truth. They're finding out I was involved in a cult for 50 years. We have people in their 80s coming out.
Yes.
We spoke to a couple, and she really did have a nervous breakdown. She's been to 4 therapists, and she called us and she said the best thing was talking to someone that understood. And we connected her right away with someone in her area, and within 2 days they were having lunch together.
World changed.
So these are the things that we're concentrating on. So if anybody has any ideas like that, that would help ones that are coming out.
And in a practical sense,
Yeah.
In a practical sense, the first thing we were interested in doing is coming up with a directory, so that we could contact each other. Now that's kind of far flung, because that has to be published. I mean, the person has to want to be in the directory, and then have to basically make it available to others so that they can contact each other. Because as it was brought out before, the internet may not be around as reliably as we'd like it to be.
Yeah.
In fact, there's talk about it being going down at some point. Whether or not that's fear mongering, or whether or not that's just a scare tactic, I don't know. But just as we wouldn't want to be so dependent on an organization like Watchtower, we have to be very careful not to be so dependent on the internet, because as soon as the plug is pulled on this, what do?
Yeah.
We've got to have the back door arrangement, phone calls.
Yeah, I was just thinking as Joe's talking, like if each of us had 5 numbers, and some of us have more than 5 numbers, but if we had 5 numbers that we regularly kept in contact with, how you doing, how are things going, what do what's new in your life, and you kept in touch with each other, and then maybe you add another person, that person knows someone, so now you've got 6 people. Well, that grows exponentially before you know it,
because
you've got so many contacts.
Yeah, because what they'll do, they'll interchange and exchange with others as well, and it'll grow.
Yeah.
It's happening. It is happening now. It is.
And I know, for example, you're doing it, Happy Heretic. Linda offered her name out there, her number. So if everyone does that, because we're not the only ones, we're just putting our number out there so that we can be like a call center.
Yeah.
So they're.
And interestingly, it doesn't have to be how you say worldwide type of thing.
Right.
See, we were ingrained with the idea that this is a worldwide organization, people all over the world. So we had a global view of it, worldwide view. Well, if the internet goes down, all of a sudden now, oh my goodness, I can't reach that far individually. I can reach as far as the phone does, and as far as, physically, because there's nothing beats physical interaction, getting together with someone. That's important, not just phone, but we're social. We need that. And so it's so important to develop a local communities, like cells, like tribes back in ancient Israel, and families. They were tribes of families. They're obviously small enough to manage, but big enough to be secure. Exciting things taking place.
Yeah, it was the hardest thing for us. We were getting all these people from all over the country, but the hardest thing for us was to find local people.
Yeah.
And we just kept putting it out there. We were on a local radio program.
And that's the reason for wearing XJW buttons.
Oh yeah, we got our buttons. We put our cards out there. We have it on our sign sometimes out front. Well, little by little, people started finding us because we were on Wendy Renee and we were on Vivian and all these different programs that interviewed us. And they go, "We know you. You know, we were in the same congregation," and we're getting all these. So finally, we've got about 25 contacts that are local. And tomorrow night we have a dinner every other Thursday at our place. And you never know who's going to show up. We have different ones all the time, but last time we had 3 new ones show up.
Yeah.
And one of them was someone that we knew 20, 25 years ago. And he was just so, just to share.
Yeah.
It was really good.
It makes life new.
Yeah. So if you can find local ones next to you where you can meet up, it doesn't even have to be a big group, just for coffee.
Oh my goodness.
Just one-on-one.
Yeah.
And do it on a regular basis. And that's where our website, we have the meetup section if anybody wants to go there and put a meetup up there. And that is amazing. Just meeting people in person.
I love the fact that, you're bringing up the points that we as people need each other. And, yes, it doesn't have to be a huge amount. And it's not uncommon for when someone comes to the realization that they've been deceived and actually used by this organization to do, it's devastating. It's like your foundation gets dropped out from underneath you. And I mean, even Stephen Hassan telling his story, that when it really hit him, he had to sit down and cry for 3 hours. 3 hours. Okay. So this is a normal part of waking up, being just absolutely devastated. That, that waters your roots, and it gives you, it gives you good chemicals in your brain that gets released, and it gives you a sense of calmness and stuff. And you can start to think about, what can I do next?
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And when we share that with each other, it's just so bonding. It's just so bonding.
Yes. I think of us discovering who we are as much like back in the day when people would develop pictures. It takes a little bit of time. If you go into a dark room and put pictures into that solution, it doesn't show up their image right off the bat. It takes a little bit of time for us to develop our own sense of self, our own sense of identity, because that's what's going to help us grow. That's a big part of our healing, and it's our responsibility to develop that in ourselves.
And it's a joy, and it's a discovery. We were designed to discover, ourselves and others. And someone mentioned too about you mentioned that a meetup doesn't have to be large. Well, and here's the opposite end of that. So many people aren't very comfortable in a massively large crowd, like a district assembly,
right,
or district convention, whatever they're called.
Right.
It's like so many people. I mean, it's not a very comfortable situation because you don't know 99% of the people there,
right,
and you're not likely to get to know them. But it's the smaller crowds, more intimate, where you're comfortable with the person and you can develop something. So I'm glad we've gotten away from this notion that we're like, sheep in a massive herd of other sheep. What are you going to do? Basically, someone brought out in a herd of sheep, all the sheep see is another sheep's butt. So it's not very. You don't get to know much with each other. So the small groups is really where it starts and where it's at. And we're doing that. You're all doing that.
I think that's why they stopped the book studies.
I
Oh,
do
because
too.
it was too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Too close.
Oh,
Yeah.
too significant
Yes.
for the people. Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
So do you have many in your area in Holland, Happy Heretic, that get together, or just
what?
you and your friend?
Well, I met a brother and a sister, and we got to know each other through the internet. So I saw them both at the same day because the sister got the ex-sister got wanted to get baptized as Christian.
Hmm.
So I was there present. They're both senior citizens in Holland.
Mhm.
And there is an ex-brother that I know. He got Bible studies when he was a drummer in a band from my former pioneer partner, and so we got into contact sometimes when he visited my congregation, and I discovered his wife on Facebook, ex-witnesses, and I was so relieved that he was out as well. And I already heard it from my friends, former friends, that he was out with his whole family. So
Wow.
I found him again on Facebook, and he was a pioneer elder. And what got him out was the CSA. He had 18 cases to deal with about CSA.
Oh.
And he started
Wow.
researching and showed his wife, and he said, "This is what I found. You research for yourself." And she said, "You're right." And they went to their daughters. They have 3 daughters. Tell them that they were going to stop with the Watchtower. And well, the teenage girl said, "Oh, they were so happy because they didn't want to go on in Watchtower." So
Good.
yeah.
That's
No,
great.
what Linda said about the photograph, that it takes a little time before it develops. And everyone has his own journey
Mm.
in going out as well. And well, some are developing a longer time, and the other ones are Polaroids, right? That you can just wait in a minute and then they're out.
Yeah.
That makes me think of Jesus' words as well. When he said to flee out of Jerusalem,
Mm.
they had to go to the mountains of Pella.
Mm.
And you can ask yourself, well, what did they do there? Well, they started a new life.
Yeah.
And I read somewhere that Pella was pro-Roman, so they were safe as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they all need a safe place, but being out of the Borg, that is a safe place.
Mm-hmm.
So, but having
Yeah.
friends, and most of us only have, internet. So that's
Yeah, and again, that's why I'll stress it. So I think it's so important to develop the local. It really is, and that to develop your neighborhood X's. Someone you can basically walk to, or drive to, and you're there. I think it's so important.
I found out my neighbors were very interested in my story.
That's great.
And
Good.
we have really good contact now.
Yeah. And we tell other people this, and we tell them our quote unquote story. And I don't know if you know, but we hand this card out to people.
Yes.
And just we engage with them and just ask them what they know about the witnesses, and then tell them what we know about the witnesses. And
sorry.
No, and it's so helpful because it gives them a chance to share something that who would they share if they have some have some experience with the witnesses, they probably wouldn't have anyone else that would listen unless it was another witness like us or ex-witness.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
also told my story to worldly family, and they just, they just react like, oh, well, you're never too old to learn, and welcome, and come in, and
nice.
And I'm on the Facebook page with my
Yeah.
family, my worldly relatives.
Well, that's good. Nice to get reconnected again.
Yeah.
Got 541 comments.
Well, how about this question? What do you think might be the next change that the Watchtower might make? Yeah, I know it gives you a chuckle. What do you think it might be?
Well, I don't know if you guys have seen what's going on in Spain.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
And I just find that really interesting. And they're really getting beat up on the disfellowshipping and the shunning. They lost the lawsuit. They've lost their status in Norway. And I think that they're not going to do away with disfellowshipping, but I think financially with these lawsuits, they're going to have to back off on family members can't talk to family members. So that's my prediction. Okay.
Well, and I've thought of that myself too. Here's a situation. What if they say, and they did this with 1975.
Mm-hmm.
They actually blamed the members for doing that rather than taking responsibility for pushing it. So they blame the members. What if they do this? What if they say, you friends, you haven't been behaving very Christian to each other because you've been shunning. You really need to be more kind to each other. No, really, that's the way they roll.
I know it could happen. We were too over enthusiastic about 1975. So what you're saying is very plausible. Yes.
Shame on you. Shame on you, members. You weren't being very. Okay. So now, how does that compel the ones that have been doing it to stop shunning? It's like, I understand how it worked with beards. All of a sudden, they couldn't have beards. Now all of a sudden, you can have beards. Boom, they all have beards.
And they do.
I can't see them being so bold as to turn around and start being friends. It's just, it would almost be laughable if ones who, for example, were shunning us, like Chris and others, your friends.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
To all of a sudden now come back and establish. It's like, are you kidding? It's going to be so interesting.
Trying to come in.
We
hear something out there.
I'm getting a phone call that I'm not answering.
Oh, okay.
I'm letting it ring through to sorry.
Okay. We didn't know if we were being invaded.
A little bit.
Emergency.
The next.
It'll stop in a minute.
Well,
now it's
good to speculate. Society never wanted us to speculate. I say we speculate.
That's right.
And that's another strategy for someone who's out, who's trying to assimilate into the world. The first thing they're going to probably do is stick with Watchtower thoughts. Well, at that point, they have to actually go opposite. If Watchtower would want me to do it this way, I've got to do it the exact opposite. Rather than judgmental, accepting. And to just do the opposite of what they were trained. It's a pretty reliable strategy in order to make some changes.
I don't think it was said, but one of the strategies is I had so much more time to read, and I started reading all these books. And so just yesterday, I just finished Crisis of Consciousness, Yay.
Fran's looking for applause.
Yes, yeah. Not the big time.
No,
Yes,
that's a big deal because this book is
it is.
thick, and I would read a little bit every night. But I was reading things like all kinds of interesting books, and in the beginning, I would have to hide them because our daughter would come over. It's so terrible, but yeah, that's one thing. You know, when one strategy is to just do as much research, different ones and how they came out. I like that one from China, Scar.
Scar.
Amber Scora.
Yeah.
That was really.
Yeah.
There's so many, and of course, Stephen Hassan, combating the cult mind control, knowing that you're in a cult and all the different aspects of a cult. But this one was good. Leaving the Witnesses by Amber Scora. That was really good. And then, of course, Stephen Hassan, combating cult mind control. So that's one thing we can do on the outside is we can read whatever we want to read, and we don't have to worry.
That's right.
That we're gonna.
That's right.
That we're gonna get struck
That's
at Armageddon. Armageddon, we're gonna, get destroyed.
By the way, I'm a real, I like to listen to books through audio. I just ingest it better. And what I found Crisis of Conscience on Spotify, read by someone. It's not Raymond Franz, but it's an audio. You can hear the story being told on Spotify. Crisis of Conscience, and then the other one. So both of them are on Spotify, and you don't have to be paying a high-priced member to listen to the books. Both of his books.
That's a good idea.
Spotify.
Thank you,
Keep that in
Linda.
mind.
Yeah, good. I'll write that down.
Some other books that are really good is Bev Zeman was a therapist, and she's an ex-Jehovah's Witness. And she has several books out, Exiting the Cult, Shunned. And she also wrote a book for people that were in high control groups and cults to give to their therapists. Because
what was her name? Can you repeat her name?
Bev Zeman.
What's the first
She's
name?
on Amazon. Her books.
Bev or Bonnie? I think.
Oh, Bonnie. No, yes.
Okay,
Bonnie.
yeah, Bonnie Zeman. Yes, yeah, we've got her book too. Yep.
Yep. Sorry.
That's okay.
okay.
That's all right. And I thought maybe there was another one out. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was confused. But no, her books, I've got all of them. And I saw a therapist for a while, and she just really had no idea. And reading Bonnie's books the book for therapist was very helpful to her. And I know, a lot of witnesses they want to see a therapist, but it's hard to find one that understands, just like us talking to people who weren't witnesses, it's hard for them to comprehend what we've been through. And even with therapists, if they haven't been a Jehovah's Witness, it's hard to comprehend. And I know that
they make it worse.
Yeah. But
I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because it was one of the things we were talking about. If someone could compile, because we're starting to get different ones that are either clinical psychologists that were Jehovah's Witnesses, and we're starting to get them. What's the other thing? A trainer. What do they call? What was Gary?
Okay. Yeah, he's a professional coach.
Yeah. A life coach. We were on a group last night, and there were he was a social and psychopath. No, that was somebody else.
You're thinking of.
But anyway, there's all different kinds of therapists. If we could come up with compile a directory of ex-Jehovah's Witnesses that are therapists of some kind or another, I think that would be so helpful.
Yes, Stephen.
Go ahead.
Stephen Hassan has a podcast called The Continuum. I'm missing the words. something continuum. I'm sorry, I'm losing the words. And then there's Rachel Bernstein, who's a licensed family specialist, and she's a cult specialist as well in Los Angeles. And I went to her for a little while. So Rachel Bernstein has a podcast called Indoctrination, and
Okay.
she interviews different people from different groups of high control groups and such.
Was she a witness?
No, she grew
Okay.
up, someone near her family or someone in her family joined a high control group, and that's what got her
Okay.
stepping that out. So, yeah.
Yes, we had an interview when we were on Six Screens. We interviewed, what was her name now?
Was it
No, it was
Debbie?
Debbie.
Glander.
Debbie Glander is in California, and she was a Jehovah's Witness, and she is a therapist. And then some, we know one in, I forget if he's in Michigan, the one that was on last night, Tyler. He's a therapist. He's general psychotherapy, but he's going for, there's hypnotherapy, there's brain spotting, there's all kinds of things now. So it would be interesting to compile all those together in a directory for the ex-witnesses, because that's the first thing people want to do is see a therapist. I know we did.
That's good, no doubt. But there's so much information on the internet where by therapists and psychiatrists that are analyzing the witnesses. And one of them, really good one, is called Theremin Trees. THERAMIN trees, just like trees out in the woods. Theremin trees. He's wonderful. He explains it with animations. He shows it. He's tremendous.
This is a YouTube channel.
Yep, Theremin Trees.
Yeah, he just put one out about his narcissist mother and how the father, even though he didn't like the mother, he was afraid of his wife and basically would support her with the children and disciplining. So many people recognize like a parent like that they grew up with. He's really good.
And there was a time when a lot of this information wasn't available to people.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't. There, I mean, if it was in books, it was in colleges, and the only people that got to read them were the people who went to college for that line of work. Well, now, my goodness, not just books. We've got it literally at the tip of our fingers. There is so much wonderful information out there that helps a person get to know themselves, some of the troubling things about themselves, some of the, hopeful, positive, beautiful things about ourselves. It's there. It's the time of awareness. It really is. And there's a saying that says, for anybody not to be aware right now, it's because it's by choice. Because they don't want to be, because there's plenty of information available. It is the time. And so basically what I say, we have to avoid the trap that Watchtower set. And Watchtower set the trap of avoid self-discovery. Avoid it. We have to embrace self-discovery. And it is, the information is there.
Even if somebody just begins to research on the word narcissist or narcissism, most cult leaders are narcissistic. So it will help you connect the dots on why you were treated the way you were treated, because it's very confusing. And then you understand the techniques and tactics that they use on people. And it's, it will cover a lot.
Yeah, and unfortunately, narcissists breed narcissists. That organization basically gave people the opportunity to reveal the type of person that they were. If they were going to be a loving person, they would reveal that. If they were going to be a narcissistic person, it would be revealed. And they would have an opportunity to prove it by being an elder.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that are loving, the people that are open-hearted, open-minded, they're out. They're Pimo, or they're out. They don't belong there, and they know it. And it's the ones that I'm worried about are the ones that are still confused about what's going on, but yet remain because they just don't know how to take the steps. And we have to be mindful of that. And we have to be able to identify them and draw them, to actually draw them out. And again, someone brought out the example of brewing the coffee. It's an attractive thing. Making the bacon, it draws people, as opposed to offensive things that tells people. And we actually can do that. People are doing it. In fact, we're finding such good stories of husbands who discovered that they can help influence their wives not by going over doctrine, but rather by dealing with things that are attractive to your mate.
Mm-hmm.
It's a discovery, it's like,
The one couple, they were looking over their finances, and she was kind of worried about, they were getting their Social Security. How did it go? Because he told you.
Well, but they were considering what they would be making and getting for Social Security. And that kind of engaged her concern for the future, and the kind of time that she was spending and the money that they weren't making and how it would be needed for the future. Otherwise, they're going to be impoverished. So it got her to think differently.
Yeah.
And
he was so happy when he called us.
Goodness.
He said, I think my wife is waking up, little bit by little bit, and it wasn't anything to do with doctrine. It's just practical, everyday things that you have to do.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really interesting.
Oh, yeah. Well, and it's, simple, but it's not. It's powerful and important, because we could get too stuck on the attitude of being adversarial. It's like, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to prove this wrong. Well, you're just going to make the person hunker down and be more defensive. Well, we don't want to do that.
No, we did that with our children, and
I made serious mistakes with my family.
Yeah.
I was tragically influenced by the Watchtower. They knew me better than I knew myself, and the fear that I had, I transmitted to my children. It was for my children, but I transmitted. It was exactly the wrong thing to do, and maybe we'll have an opportunity to do something about it.
Yeah.
Well, and you help other people not make that mistake. When we talk about helping people and, being there for each other, I think our stories and, you sharing the mistakes that you made, because when we do wake up, it's a lot. I mean, I was very angry, very angry, and that's getting better. But just going on Reddit and seeing the experiences of what to do, and, there's one guy on Reddit that he comes on there every once in a while when people want advice, and, they want to tell their family, and, his advice is to shut the blank up.
Seems like a good idea, but it's going to go terribly wrong, son. Terribly wrong.
it always breaks my heart, like the young people on Reddit that,
Yes.
they're still at home and they come on there and they're going to tell their families that they're out. They have no plan. And then they come back later and they've been kicked to the curb and they have nowhere to live.
Right.
And, I just, my heart aches for them because, we've been raised to be honest. We need to be honest.
Exactly.
And
honesty is the best policy until
it's not. And
yes.
they just need to be quiet and shut up until they have their plan in place and can safely leave.
Yes. Things like having copies of your birth certificate. If you have a phone and a family plan, start your own account with your own phone. Things like, is the car in your parents' name? Maybe you want to put it in your name, because if you can, these things would help you when the day comes to be more prepared.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think our mistakes help others that are coming out.
Absolutely. That's why I share mine as often as possible.
And you sharing
I believe that. Go ahead.
You sharing, Joe, you sharing the mistakes you made will help somebody else.
Well, I hope so. I know it is, because I hear others who are recognizing the helpful ways to do it, and that's good. That is so good. It's one, we're not going to get out of this life without learning something important, and if we can share it, that helps.
We just want to say hello to Jay. Jay's going through some difficult times, and we just want to let you know we love you, Jay, and we're with you. And hang in there, Jay. We are all.
Is it Jay from Florida or
No,
Jay from New York?
Jay from New York.
Hello, Jay.
Yes.
The one that was on here with us a little bit ago?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said, I don't want to bring you down, so I'm going to say
no.
No.
Jay, we're here. Don't you worry about that.
Yeah.
You'll end up getting some suggestions from people who have gone through what you've gone through when you share what's up with you. You're not responsible for everybody else's feelings anymore, Jay. You're not responsible for how God feels. You're not going to please him or displease him. You're not responsible for Jehovah God's name remaining clean. No.
Yeah. No.
You can
we need
you know what I mean?
We need to hear from you when you're ready to let us know.
That was a big thing that they would put on our shoulders. You don't want to stumble somebody. Wow. Which really equals you'll have their blood on your hands come Armageddon. So making one mistake really pretty much always leads to you're going to die in Armageddon. So it's kind of tough for us to, when we assimilate into society at large, and be willing to make mistakes, because that's scary for us. But in actuality, we actually learn wisdom.
That's right.
We learn our own wisdom.
That's right. We need each other for that.
Absolutely.
Jay, we're here to listen whenever you're ready.
That was a good point you said, Linda.
What's that?
That we cannot, by what mistakes we make, it doesn't have any effect on Jehovah.
No. Jehovah's responsible for his own happiness. I mean,
that's right.
That's a big manipulation tool. This is a big manipulation tool.
And so
if God's not happy, I'm not going to take blame for it.
Yeah, but everything that they'll teach is, if you want to please Jehovah, you'll behave like this, and you don't want to behave like that because that displeases Jehovah. No. So this is great, emotional and behavior control, right?
Oh my goodness, it's terrible. Yeah. Setting things straight.
Well, guys, I'm going to jump off here. It was great being on
Yeah,
with you all.
Thank you
for coming on.
I think we're going to jump while we still can.
Yeah, I think it's this has been wonderful.
We're getting late.
We've had a lot of really good comments here. I've been reading them, but just to let you know, Dinah Loss says you have the right to feel the way you feel.
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
Kate says, well, because there is a fine line, though, and can, yes, become someone that they shut down too. That's what I have to be careful of. And
Yes.
as far as what Joe said, they said it's a lot of guilt to carry on. Your feelings are valid, but that's a heavy guilt to carry,
Yeah.
Caitlin says.
Yeah.
And there's so much love here. I see you, says. And it is. It's a community. We are supporting each other. We can express our feelings without being judged and don't have to worry about, the elders calling us into the back room. We are here. This is the outside story.
Yes. And we're all benefiting from it. And we truly appreciate it.
Yes.
We appreciate the conversation.
Yeah, we're so glad we had so many come on tonight, and thank you, Acosta Babe, and thank you, Happy Heretic, and the ones that came on earlier.
And our phone is available too.
Yes.
And I get to do
Just
what
to
you
say
just did
that.
today. On Saturday nights, I do something very similar to what you guys did today, and I loved your show today. Is at 9 p.m. on my channel, which is Apostle Babe Linda James. I do a live stream just like this, Pacific Standard Time. So
Yeah,
come
you're
and
in
join.
California.
Pacific
it's 9
Standard
o'clock
Time.
California time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
So it would be 12
Saturday
o'clock
night.
our time.
under Saturday night.
Yes.
Yes.
Good.
Thank you for letting me say that.
Oh, I'm glad you
absolutely.
did,
Yeah,
Linda. Yes.
absolutely.
I think actually Shauna put it in the chat.
Yeah.
She's been putting all these.
Oh, thank you, Shauna.
Yep, a pasta babe. Yep,
Yeah.
she's put it in here.
Oh, nice.
Well, we will blow kisses to each other and say goodnight.
Good night,
Good night,
sleep
everybody.
tight,
Good night.
and
Good night.
don't let
Good night,
the
Shannon.
bugs fight.
Love you all. Thank you.
Love you.
Friend Joe. Friend
Bye.
Joe.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
Yes.
Yes.
Uncle
Can
Joe and
I-
Auntie Sam.
Can I share the link from the Exodus group in the?
Yes.
Oh, sure.
Please do.
Do.
Yeah.
Yes. Simply Christian Faith Community Exodus. I see it up
Got
here.
it.
It's up
Yeah.
there.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do the others get to see it? I think Shauna has to put it up there if she's able to. That Christian Faith Community.
I put it up in the chat.
Yes, I see it. Okay.
It's right there. Is that it right there?
But does the live chat see it?
I don't know. We don't have control of that, but Shauna does. So
Either I see you or Shauna. There are
yeah.
helpers.
Oh yeah.
If they can put it in.
Thanks.
You're
Shauna.
welcome. Yeah.
There-
Anybody that can share anything.
There
Great.
it is. Okay, we got it.
Yep.
All right.
In the
Thank you
Good.
so much, everyone.
Good.
Okay, good night.
Good
Good
night,
night,
all.
everyone.
Good night.
Love you
Love you.
all.
Love you too.
Bye. Okay.
You didn't stop it yet?
We're trying to
There's a little
stream.
end. There's an end stream on the upper right hand corner.
Yeah, that's
It
what
says end.
we're touching.
So you got to touch
Yeah.
it twice.
Okay, hold on. Maybe we
And
gotta
another
do the
screen
little-
comes down to make sure. Are you
Oh,
sure it
twice.
says?
Oh, you don't
Does it ask you to confirm?
You don't do this.
Oh, okay.
Goodbye.
We'll do it. There we go.